In a time long ago, in the ancient city of Babylon, a great empire stretched across the lands. Here, the powerful king Nebuchadnezzar ruled with a heavy hand. His kingdom was known for its splendor, but it was also steeped in idolatry and arrogance. Among the captives brought to Babylon were 4 young men, Daniel, Hananiah, Mishael, and Azariah, all of noble birth from Judah. Their names signified their dedication to the God of Israel, but in Babylon, they were given new names: Belteshazzar, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. This change was more than a mere renaming, it was a challenge to their identity and faith. The central theme of the book of Daniel is the unwavering faithfulness of God amidst trials and the importance of standing firm in one's beliefs. It is a testament to the power of faith and obedience, even in the face of great adversity. As the story unfolds, we find Daniel and his friends in a critical situation. Chosen for their wisdom and intelligence, they were to be trained in the king's palace. The king provided them rich food and wine, but Daniel resolved not to defile himself with these royal delicacies. Instead, he asked the chief official for vegetables and water. The official feared for his life if the king saw them looking weaker than the others. However, Daniel boldly proposed a 10-day test. At the end of the 10 days, they appeared healthier and stronger than the others who ate the royal food. This boldness paid off. The official agreed, and Daniel's faith in God shone bright. The lesson here is clear: faithfulness in small matters can lead to greater blessings. When we honor God, He honors us in return. As time passed, God blessed Daniel with wisdom and understanding. He interpreted dreams and visions, earning the respect of King Nebuchadnezzar. One night, the king had a troubling dream that left him restless. He summoned his wise men, demanding they reveal the dream and its meaning. None could do it, causing the king to decree death for all wise men, including Daniel and his friends. But Daniel, filled with wisdom from God, sought the king's time. He prayed and asked God to reveal the mystery. That night, God answered his prayer. Daniel saw a vision and, in the morning, he went to the king. He explained the dream, which was about a great statue made of various materials, each representing different kingdoms. The final part of the dream showed a stone that crushed the statue, symbolizing God's eternal kingdom that would never be destroyed. The king was astounded and honored Daniel, acknowledging the God of Israel. The lesson here is profound: God is the ultimate source of wisdom, and His plans prevail over all earthly powers. When we rely on Him, we find clarity in our darkest moments. But the story does not end here. Nebuchadnezzar, in his pride, built a massive golden statue and commanded everyone to worship it. He threatened anyone who refused with a fiery furnace. Daniel's friends, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, stood firm in their faith. They refused to bow down, declaring that their God could save them, but even if He did not, they would not worship the image. Enraged, Nebuchadnezzar ordered them thrown into the furnace, heated 7 times hotter than usual. But when the king peered into the flames, he saw not 3 but 4 men walking unharmed, the 4th appearing like a divine being. The fire did not touch them. The king called them out, and when they emerged, not a hair on their heads was singed, nor did they even smell of smoke. This miraculous deliverance teaches us that faith in God can shield us from the fires of life. When we stand up for our beliefs, God stands with us, sometimes in ways we least expect. Soon after, the dreams of Nebuchadnezzar became increasingly troubling. The king's pride returned, and God humbled him. He faced a period of madness, living like an animal until he recognized God's sovereignty. When he finally looked to heaven, his sanity returned, and he praised the Most High God. This humbling experience showed Nebuchadnezzar the truth: God rules over all kingdoms and grants authority to whomever He chooses. The lesson here is about humility before God. No earthly power can compare to His might. When we recognize our place and give glory to God, we align ourselves with His greater plan. Years later, as the story continues, Belshazzar, Nebuchadnezzar's successor, hosted a lavish feast. During this feast, he ordered the sacred vessels from the Jewish temple to be brought forth. He and his guests drank from them while praising their false gods. Suddenly, a mysterious hand appeared and wrote a message on the wall. Terrified, Belshazzar called for the wise men, but they could not interpret the writing. Finally, someone remembered Daniel. When Daniel arrived, he boldly confronted the king's arrogance and explained the inscription, Mean, Tekel, Parson. The message meant that God had numbered Belshazzar's days and his kingdom would be divided. That very night, Babylon fell to the Medes and Persians. This episode reveals that defiance against God leads to inevitable consequences. God's judgment is certain, and pride will lead us to our downfall. Then, the narrative shifts to Daniel himself. As an old man, he continued to serve faithfully under Persian rule. King Darius, who had a fondness for Daniel, appointed him over the other governors. This stirred jealousy among the officials, who plotted against him. They knew Daniel was faithful in his service and turned to the king with a cunning decree that anyone who prayed to any god or man other than the king in the next 30 days would be thrown into the lion's den. Daniel, unwavering in his faith, continued to pray to God, just as he always had. The officials caught him and dragged him before the king, who was distressed but bound by his own law. He reluctantly placed Daniel into the lion's den, declaring that he hoped Daniel's God would save him. That night, the king couldn't sleep, anxious for Daniel's fate. In the morning, he rushed to the den and called out. To his astonishment, Daniel answered. God had sent an angel to shut the lions' mouths, and he was unharmed. The king rejoiced and ordered that Daniel be lifted out of the den. Then, he commanded those who had plotted against Daniel to be thrown into the same lion's den, where they met a swift end. This story teaches us about the power of unwavering faith. In the face of danger, Daniel remained steadfast, and God rewarded his faithfulness. When we trust in God, He can deliver us from the fiercest trials. As we reflect on the book of Daniel, we see a journey of faith, courage, and divine intervention. Each story invites us to trust in God's sovereignty, to stand firm in our beliefs, and to recognize that our true identity is found in Him. Daniel, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego teach us that regardless of the pressures around us, our commitment to God should never waver. This ancient tale reminds us that God's faithfulness is timeless. He was with Daniel and his friends in Babylon, and He is with us today. In our struggles, we can find hope. When we feel overwhelmed, we can turn to the same God who brought Daniel through the fire and the lion's den. Let us end with a warm reflection on the faithfulness of God. In every trial, He is there, guiding and protecting us. Like Daniel, we can live with courage and integrity, trusting in His perfect plan for our lives. Our God is a mighty deliverer, and even in our darkest moments, He invites us to lean on Him. As we face our own challenges, let us remember that God is always in control, always faithful, and always worthy of our trust.